Hello, everyone, and welcome to Snap Take. Welcome as well to the best month, the new Marvel Snap Galactus season, where I'm crazy about almost every card. We've got the best Day 1 Galactus deck for you. We've got the best Day 1 Stardust deck for you. And for those of you who aren't buying the season pass, I know a lot of people are going free to play right now. We've got a budget deck at the end of the video for you that only features that's right, one high series card. But we're going to kick it off with what the #1 deck in all Marvel Snap was last season. This is the deck that Derek played to #1 for the third season that he has been the #1 player on the Infinite Leaderboard. This is arguably the very best deck in Marvel Snap and almost certainly the thing to do on ladder right now. Derek won the first Golden Gauntlet. That's what he's sort of famous for. But also last year in both August and September, he was #1 on the Infinite Leaderboard. This deck needs Misery, Victoria Hand, and Frigga. Victoria Hand decks tend to need at least two of those. Once in a while, they run something like Moonstone instead of one of those cards, but the general gist is you're going to need those three. Nico Minoru can be Merlin or Zabu. Nico is best. Nico gives you an extra copy, like Frigga, while also giving you a thing to do with the hood to draw extra cards. But Merlin does at least one of those two things, right? It gives you extra energy, not extra cards, but same concept, and is still pretty solid. You are running 2/4s, and Zabu is fine. He's kind of weak as a 1/1, so you don't really want to run him, but it's not the worst thing in the world to do. Iron Patriot here can be Kate. Kate is not here because even though she's great with Victoria Hand, she is actively kind of bad with Moon Girl. It's really, really hard to actually play both of those cards and not clog your draw very badly. So Iron Patriot's in the list, but Kate is a fine replacement. Shadow King has actually been the swing spot for Derek, and at some points he was running Scarlet Witch. So if you don't have Red Guardian, you're running Scarlet Witch. Red Guardian does feel like a must-own card once more, because a lot of people are trying to do things like Prodigy Invisible Woman, and your ability to turn that off with Red Guardian is extremely important. And finally, of course, we have Mr. Fantastic, who can just be Surge. I think we're at a point in Marvel Snap, though, where if you don't own Mr. Fantastic or Surge, you're going to need to prioritize getting one of the two. You absolutely need one of those two cards. The hood is here because 1/6s are great. That's fundamentally the logic here. The main way you have of getting rid of your hood is Misery. What that amounts to doing is you play 5 energy for 9 power, and then you have 2 1/6s. Those 1/6s can obviously be made bigger by Victoria Hand. It's one of the most powerful little combos in Marvel Snap. Nico, we talked about on the previous slide. Copying Victoria Hand is the goal. Don't be afraid to copy the demons either. Once in a while, you'll copy a Shadow King as well. Quinjet gives us cheap cards. Obviously, that's not very useful with the hood because Quinjet does have a minimum of 0. But once in a while, your Moon Girl is going to give you an extra Shadow King. Your Frigga is going to give you an extra Shadow King. That kind of thing being made cheaper is really good. And outside of that, it's really just for Moon Girl. If Moon Girl gives you multiple cards, especially if it gives you multiple Victoria Hands or cheaper Iron Patriot cards, that Quinjet is worth its weight in gold. Mr. Fantastic likewise gives you budget cards. It also fundamentally says, hey, that card is buffed by Victoria Hand without it being buffed by Victoria Hand, right? That's what +2 power is. Obviously, that's vulnerable to Shadow King, but if you play carefully, it shouldn't be a huge problem. Mirage is the other card that gives you something vulnerable to Shadow King. 2/3 better than 2/2, but losing the -1 is obviously a big deal. Giving you an extra card to be buffed by Victoria Hand is great, usually an extra card that's cheap enough to play. Iron Patriot can give you a card that's both cheap enough to play and put a lot of pressure on the opponent. He gives you a pseudo snap condition. There is a play pattern we call the Burrs combo, where if you go on turn 1 or 2 hood, turn 3 you play both Iron Patriot and the demon on that hood lane. At that point on turn 4 you play Misery there. You will have 15 power in a demon and Misery in that location, usually enough to win that Iron Patriot, while also getting an extra demon and an extra Iron Patriot trigger. It is a snap condition in and of itself. It is one of the strongest things to do in Marvel Snap. Victoria Hand, meanwhile, is just extreme power for this list. You should be able to get 2 of her most games if you don't see her on the last turn, thanks to Frigga and Moon Girl, which means that she's an incredible card. You don't need her to win. You can just do enough things with Demons and Shadow King sometimes, but she is genuinely the real engine of the deck and one of the most important cards in Marvel Snap. Last 2-drop I wanted to save to talk about with Red Guardian. Shadow King is great because fundamentally almost every deck is trying to scale up power as much as it can right now. There's a ridiculous amount of scaling decks. Shadow King says, nope. Spoiler alert, this is the only time we're going to see Shadow King today. As a 2-drop, he is the best tech card in Marvel Snap right now. Red Guardian had actually fallen out of favor. It being a 2/4 and not a 2/5, sorry, a 3/4 and not a 3/5 is a really big deal for the card. But Invisible Woman is the other power engine of the game. Victoria Hand and Invisible Woman being the 2 big power engines. A little bit of Surfer, well, more on that later. But Victoria Hand and the wonderful Invisible Woman First Steps being the big engines of the game, Red Guardian is one of the only ways we have right now to handle that Invisible Woman. Frigga's here again for Victoria Hand or Demon. Moon Girl gives you plenty of Victoria Hands, also demons, but like you'll happily take 2 Shadow Kings, like an extra Iron Patriot card, Mirage card, all good stuff. And of course, Misery is here largely for the hood, but you are okay hitting both Iron Patriot and Mirage in the right situations. Don't feel bad to do so. So this is again the rank 1 deck in July. Message Derek was like, what you do? And this is the deck he played toward the end of the season. This turn 1, you want Quinjet over Hood, discounts over Hood, because unless you already have Misery and have everything like mapped out, you generally speaking want to play Quinjet first. Turn 2, Mr. Fantastic, Victoria Hand if you're going to Frigga. Otherwise, I would try and hold that for either Moon Girl or later Frigga. Over Iron Patriot if you think you can win, over Mirage. If you don't think you can win Iron Patriot, just drop Mirage. Turn 3, we're going 2+1 or Frigga. We can also try to set up Victoria Hand for Moon Girl, which means we'll just sort of play whatever early cards out. So if we Moon Girl, we get a second Victoria Hand. Turn 4, we can Moon Girl, and if we're getting a second Victoria Hand, we can snap, or we can drop a Misery on Hood. The Misery on Hood Iron Patriot is a snap as well. We can also do a 2+2. This is your last turn to play Iron Patriot and get the buff. Iron Patriot and Victoria Hand are generally a good play. Make sure Victoria Hand is second in case you want to Frigga that card. Turn 5, we go with the Hood and Misery, or we just want to generate cards. However, you can generate cards. Sometimes that's Moon Girl, and if we play Moon Girl here, we can play it with Quinjet and discount most of the stuff we get. And then turn 6 is play basically all your generated cards, extra Victoria Hands, whatever else, Shadow King, Red Guardian, and win the game. Once in a while, again, for that Invisible Woman, especially if we don't have Prio, we're going to need to Red Guardian on turn 4 or 5 to make sure that Invisible Woman doesn't happen, to make sure it doesn't get copied, and then we can win that matchup really handily. That's a snap there too. Props to Derek. Congratulations, my friend, for another number 1. One of the all-time greats Marvel Snap players. Just an absolute GOAT at this game. Before we go further, before we get to the best Galactus First Steps deck and my first impressions on that card, please hit that sub, like, and comment if you're willing to. It would mean a lot to help support the channel if you were willing to show us some love. We're also giving away 5 copies of Galactus First Steps this week. All you have to do is sub, like, and then leave a comment on any video this week. The comment section in every single video are going to have a Galactus First Steps in them, so make sure that you try to get your free card. From here, Galactus First Steps. He's a 6/12. My Herald is the next character I see you play. So when you draw Galactus, the first card you play after you draw Galactus is his Herald. That card gets end turn +2 power if you're winning my Herald. Sorry, Galactus has +2 power if you're winning my Herald's location. So what that means is he gets really big. If you can win his Herald's location for a lot of the game, he's often ending up as a 2/14. Well, if you win it once, he's a 2/14. That's big. 2/16 if you can win it twice. 2/18 is fairly often where I'm seeing him. I've seen him bigger than 2/18, but 2/18 is a reasonably common number for him, which makes him the biggest 6 in the game. If you are the type of player who likes playing big 6s, then get this Galactus. It's just that simple. If you don't play a lot of 6s, you're not going to need this. I don't think he's breaking the game, but I do think he's big enough to put a lot of pressure on the board in the decks he's good in. Our friend Not My Dance has the deck that I found the best for Galactus First Steps so far. I'm going to play him more on stream. I might even be still streaming when this video goes live. We shall see. But for the time being, what you need to know is that I played this deck. This deck has a really high win rate in pre-infinite, and I managed to play this deck for a few games, and I think it's great. This is the old Thursday version of Red Wing that was updated by Toxic Soul King, that was updated by, like 5 people, Snap Nation, like lots of people have updated this. This is the Not My Dance version. He basically cut this established 6 drops of Infinite and Gigantor, Infinite and Magneto, and said, what if we just do Heimdall and Galactus and go over the top, and then added like an extra little points package to try and win that Galactus First Steps location. You can find Dance at twitch.tv/notmydance and also probably on the podcast this weekend. The only real high series card you need for this list is Red Wing. Zoran can be Cloak, Aranya can be Iron Fist, Red Hulk and Galactus can be Infinite and Giganto. I'm not sure that Red Hulk is actually better than Infinite here. I genuinely can't decide. I think that Infinite might end up being better. So Aranya, Ghost Spider, Zoran, and Madam Web are your moving cards. They want to move Red Wing once and Vulture more than once. It's just that simple. If you are able to make Vulture the card that you Galactus First Steps, you are fairly often going to be able to win that location and make that Galactus bigger. The other thing that's really nice there is you can use Silk as another way to, like, Silk moves to locations. Generally speaking, she's going to land at a location in early game, especially because she's a 2/5, to help you win that location. That's, again, +2 power on that Galactus First Steps. As these cards are moving around, thanks to all these other power cards, You are trying to land them as often as possible on Craven, who just ends up reasonably big here. Obviously, Topaz is better for Craven than Zorn, but Zorn does the job well enough. Your goal is sort of to put things center and right, because what you actually want to happen toward the end of the game is you want to play Heimdall to move everything. If you move a bunch of cards on a Craven, then you end up with a stupidly huge lane-winning Craven. If Red Wing is one of those cards, in the Heimdall location, you often end up with Red Hulk or Galactus and a location win. Dracula is a way to not have to play the big cards, and then Red Hulk and Galactus are just the keyword big cards in the deck in the metagame right now. 70% win rate early. Again, this is my pick for the best Galactus First Steps decks. The only ones that are really, as of my check on Untapped, competing right now in terms of stats are end of turn Invisible Woman decks that are running Galactus First Steps, but they're just running Galactus First Steps, right? Those are Invisible Woman First Steps decks that just happen to be running this card. Turn 1, you want Naranya. Turn 2, Madam Web or Zorn. Craven's mid is fine, and so is Silk. Turn 3, we're going Vulture to move, or Red Wing if we have a great hand. We can otherwise skip. Otherwise we don't play those cards. We play a 2-drop, excuse me. Turn 4, we're going to go Dracula, or we're going to move Red Wing or Vulture, and if we've got that stuff going, we're snapping. Turn 5 is generally speaking the same as 4, and then turn 6, we either drop a 6, or if we need to empty our hand for Dracula, we can make some earlier plays. Luckily, that's why Zorn is in the deck, because if we have to drop a Red Wing or Vulture late, we can still get extra power and value out of those late plays thanks to those cards. This deck is kind of a monster, and Galactus First Steps did feel real here. Is he better than running Infinite in this style of list? I don't know. But that he's of a comparable power to Infinite as a regular 6-drop is a really good place for this card to be. Before we go forward, please hit twitch.tv/PulseGlazer if you are so inclined. I should be live right now. If I'm not live right now, I'll be live again around the time of my video going live tomorrow morning. So make sure you check out twitch.tv/PulseGlazer. Next up, what are your impressions on the new cards? We talked about Galactus First Steps. We're going to talk about one more, but there's still 2 more. What any of them you've played? What do you think of them so far? Next up, we have Stardust. Stardust is a 4/7. Ongoing cards can't be added to locations except by playing or moving them. That is both players, indeed. That is locations, indeed. That does honestly break Marvel Snap, as in this card is wildly bugged and causing a lot of problems for the game. Because of that, I have not actually played the card yet. I'm going to be totally honest. I didn't want to play the card and end up crashing my game because living in Vietnam, the connection to Marvel Snap is fragile enough right now. So I didn't play Stardust. However, he's got a really high win rate in the decks he's going in thus far. That suggests he's going to be really good, but part of the reason is because people know he's bugged. They're still playing Hela with Redshift. They're still playing Dormammu decks and Destroy decks, and those decks are winning a lot. If Stardust is seeing a proper amount of play, which I assume this card will, then those decks become more food. So I do expect Stardust to be both good and better as the card makes more sense and have a really major effect on the meta even now. Anidust is the current best Stardust deck. This is this is sort of the shell that was running Fenris Wolf until now, right? But Stardust says that I don't want to run Fenris Wolf because those two counter synergy. You can run both together and just sort of choose which game plan you're going for per game. That's totally fine. But Stardust is here. What Stardust really does, honestly, is prevent your Sentry from making a void, giving you access to a 4/9, which is nice. It's here to mess with opponents, though, right? Your opponent can't move cards, thanks to Mercury. Your opponent can't gain green power, thanks to Shadow King. If your opponent just plays big stuff, they get Shang-Chi'd, and then Stardust says they can't add cards. That's just mean. If all those things happen, you can also probably send over that void from Sentry and do lots of other mean things. This one is not Ava Zord. I don't know who made it. This is just an old, I forgot to change Ava Zord's name. Cannonball. Hi, Ava. Props to our Brazilian friend. This deck needs Cannonball, Mercury, or Merlin. Gladiator can be Werewolf or Negasonic Teenage Warhead. Stardust and Annie can be Lady Deathstrike and Cersei. Mr. Fantastic can be Surge. Again, please make sure you own one. And Red Guardian can be a tech card, Werewolf, or Juggernaut. The beauty of Werewolf by Night in these lists is outside of just being really good with Merlin, it lets you compete in power with other major decks, like the Invisible Woman one, which you would otherwise need Red Guardian for. Alright, so Anidust. The Hood and Sentry are here largely for Annihilus. Annihilus sends over the negative power. You get extra power out of that deal because you're not only taking negative off your side, you're adding it to your opponents while also limiting their space. It's really strong. Your real backup plan for these cards is Merlin, turning the Hood into a 2-drop or 2 extra energy, turning the Void into a 5-drop or extra energy. Both of those are absolutely great. You can stop the Void as well using Stardust. Mercury is here because Cannonball is here. It's an auto kill on the most powerful thing in a location when you have those two cards, unless your opponent has Armor or Cosmo. Mr. Fantastic is just, I still think, the best card in the game. It's like Mr. Fantastic, then I think Invisible Woman and Victoria Hand like fighting in 2 and 3 at this point. So at that point, we also run the best tech card, the second best tech card, Shadow King Red Guardian, and then the third best tech card, Shang-Chi. Once in a while, people are foolish enough to trigger Invisible Woman on turn 5. Power must be controlled. You can also obviously play Shadow King and Shang-Chi together on the last turn, which is just mean. Gladiator is usually big enough because most of the power in the meta is scaling to just be a nice, easy destroy. We talked about Stardust and preventing opponents' nonsense. Sentry gives you that void and great power. Annihilus gives you great power and sends over massive things to the opponent. And Cannonball destroys stuff. So this is the best Stardust. Day 1. Turn 1 Hood, turn 2 Merlin over Fantastic over Mercury. And the reason you generally want Merlin first is because, especially if you don't have Gladiator, you want to go 2+1 on 3. Turn 4, we're choosing between Sentry and Stardust, and it honestly depends what your opponent's playing. If you think Stardust is going to wreck your opponent's day, snap and play it, right? I've seen a reasonable amount of Hela. The second I see a Hela, if I have Stardust, I'm snapping them. Turn 5, Annihilus or Sentry after Stardust. Stardust and a 1 from Merlin are totally fine. Shang-Chi and Shadow King or Cannonball are generally how you win the game. Cannonball should generally be played with a demon. Sometimes you'll drop a Hood and Nihilus there too, but generally speaking, you want to use your control cards at the end of the game because this deck doesn't put out that much power, but it wins that many games. This is a really, really great home for Stardust. Before we go forward, if my current stream schedule doesn't work for you, please check out the stream team. For you, it should be Thursday morning this should be Wednesday during the day when this goes live. So check out Game of Flash X from 9 to 10 p.m. Eastern tonight. Days are still hard. All right. Next up, we got our budget deck. I promised you a budget deck, and here it is. The only high series card in here is Sebastian Shaw. I don't know why I said his name that way, but it's Shaw because you've got Ironheart, Silver Surfer, Absorbman, and Odin, so you can make Shaw an absolutely ungodly huge lane winner. Outside of that, this deck is trying to win through being Toxic Surfer. I have no idea who made this or who's playing it, but I'm going to credit Gregor2424 because Gregor is the main person I've seen play this archetype. This deck doesn't really need any cards. Shaw can be First Step, Torch, or Carter. You can also try Brood. I just realized there's no Brood in it as I was building the turn by turn. So please note there are absolutely 0 early plays here. Ironheart is here to largely be a huge buff on Wong. There are games when you go Hazmat on Wong, and then you copy it with Odin. You double that on Odin, and you win that way because you have Lookout. There's a lot more games, to me anyway, where you go Ironheart and Surfer on Wong, and then you Odin that, or you Absorbing Man the Surfer, and then you win that way. Oh, Brood is here. I don't know why I thought Brood was in here for a second. Whew. All right, so that's Ironheart. Ironheart is your end turn big power spike, especially if you don't see Surfer. Brood is just decent power. Brood is best power, obviously, with Surfer. You can also do Brood Absorbman shenanigans. You usually don't in this deck, but it is an option you have. Brood copying Absorbman gives you 5 power Broodlings, which is, a good place to be in Marvel Snap. Luke protects you from your own Hazmat. Rogue says, oof, I don't want to deal with their Luke. Not that many people are running it, but there's just enough power and having access to that it's in the deck. From there, we're going to go with Magic, who gives you enough turns to do your combo and enough turns to actually play Odin. Rogue takes opponent stuff. Again, we established that Silver Surfer is a big power buff. Hazmat on Wong with Odin gives you enough negative power on opponent's side, especially with Luke, to win the game. Hazmat ends up playing for like 20 power in those games. Shaw gets huge. It is a lane winner, especially when dropped late. There's games where you're going to go Wong into like whatever, into Magic, let's say, into Shaw in one location, into Surfer, and you're just going to win a lot of those games. Absorbman is a great copy for Surfer, or Hazmat usually, can also copy Brood or Ironheart in a pinch. Sarah gives you enough energy to really go off and just do stupid things, and Odin is here to copy Surfer, Ironheart, and Hazmat. Don't be afraid to copy Absorbman, but that, again, doesn't usually tend to be the case. So this is a nice little budget deck, has an 80% win rate, pre-infinite. Turn 1 and 2 you pass. Turn 2 you want Magic or Luke. Turn 3 Wong over 3. If they played name of card. If they played Merlin, tried not to play Magic. Turn 4 Wong over a 3-drop, and Wong is a snap. Turn 4 Magic or Sarah, and if you can keep either of them going, you should probably snap. Turn 6 we're going Surfer, Hazmat, Shaw, Surfer, Hazmat, Ironheart. Any of those combos happen. And then turn 7 we're dropping Odin on them, or we're going Absorbman another 3. If you played Sarah, we can add cards to this combo as necessary. No one's playing Luke. Juggernaut's on a downswing. Cosmo's on a downswing. Go win some cubes. Play some Toxic Surfer. Enjoy yourself. Let me know how you do with this one, please, since most of you can afford to play this list. Certain tiers of support on our Patreon come with honor. Thanks. Please do check out patreon.com/snapjudgments if you're so inclined. It would really help out the channel. Jonesy Snap 22 is our patron of the month. Thank you to Abigail Geeson, Mandatory Burnout, It Regardless, LAB Inc. I am Frostman, Hota Never a Day, Primed Ryan, Ryan Burke, Ryan Wood Snap. Check him out on YouTube. Also, check out Jonesy Snap 22 on YouTube. I can't believe I didn't say that. And I am Frostman on Twitch. Ren Wrench, Gopher, Kev, Keltor, Caretixley, King of Questions, Miss you, Caretix, where are you? Koire, who I love talking to himself to record this video. Hi, Koire. Kazushi, Archangel 3K, Black Dahlia, Perifrost, The Goat Seeker, Code, Hallowed, Synth, Fanatic, Absolute Shannon, Dirtay, Casual, Dark Moogle, what's up, Moogs, Mr. Kerfuffle, Cables, Chillin', Traveling the World, Ginger Prime, Philly, Philip Rackwich, Haplo, Kenny Loggins, Under Danger Zone, The Bizza, Black Jeebus 23, Exorcy, and Skippy G, Rhyming Friends, Jess, what's up, Jess, Mr. Slush Death, The King of Bros, Bro, The Great Kazoo, Werewolf, Gives, Yoda Clam, Colonel Foreman, Rob Silverman, David G. Wingfield, Steven, Brian Kaufman, Tristan H., Martin, Jason B., Matt V., Real Name Town, Shrunk, Corin, Junk U, and Jimmy McHugh, Yist Out, 8th Sage, What Big Man, Peace Out, Milkman, Miss ya, Cactus, Reapzer, Steve O, 131, Yo Marco, Ted Bro, Grid Bro Joe, check out this podcast, Snap Decisions Joe, Snap Decisions podcast is great, Bickety, Boom Bot, Bricks to Click, Ow, Green Goblin, Unibot V2, Flan 56, Spectrumix, Only Fox, Matt H, DJ, Mike Hijinks, No Frickin' Flex, Nick, The Greek Geek, check him out on Twitch, Toxic Soul King, Twitch, Zadrek74, Twitch, The King of Canada, JJ, Twitch, Damn Man Falcon, YouTube, Thor Newman, Twitch, YouTube, Pick Your Poison, Two Ties, oh no, I didn't do the thing, I'll do the thing tomorrow, Two Ties, Lauren, whatevs, check out the Snap on this podcast, the Pirate King Tucker on all the socials, everywhere, literally just TUCCR, find him, and of course Gunny T, the T stands for, whew, I don't know if that starts with a T, but it does for me, peace.